Curry splits the defense behind the back, fires a three. Oh, he puts it in! What a spectacular move! And it's the largest lead of the game.
Wait. Hold on a minute here.
How on earth does Steph Curry get all that energy?
By a process called cellular respiration.
What was that?
This is your conscience, buddy. All the energy powering our bodies comes from ATP generated from cell respiration.
So is it drugs?
Well, not really. It involves the creation of ATP using glucose and oxygen as reactants to make carbon dioxide and water byproducts.
Can you perhaps visualize it like one of those books for dummies?
Eat this, young one. Well, first, let's start with the basics. ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, is the currency for cells' energy that transports energy within cells for metabolism. Its energy is derived from when a phosphate group splits off, making ADP that releases energy and uses energy from food to convert it back into a high energy state in ATP.
What does the bread have to do with making this currency, though?
As for the bread, it breaks down into its constituent molecule of glucose as it is digested through the body. It enters the cytosol of a cell either by active transport using existing ATP energy or going down a concentration gradient of sodium. Once here begins the first phase of glycolysis, investment. 2 ATPs are used to phosphorylate glucose, which is unstable, so it splits into 2 pGal molecules, which are C3H6O3. Then comes the second phase of glycolysis, payoff. 2 inorganic phosphates attach to pGals, and the 4 phosphate groups are released to 4 ADP to make 4 ATP. At the same time, 2 NAD+, a coenzyme used to create ATP by acting as an electron carrier, receive electrons and are reduced to form 2 NADH and H+ ion. In the end, 2 pyruvate molecules of C3H4O3 enter the mitochondria. In the end of glycolysis, we have a net gain of 2 ATP, 2 NADHs, and 2 pyruvate molecules.
That only accounts for 2 ATPs out of supposed 38. Where does the rest come from?
We'll get to that, I promise. In order for the pyruvate molecules to be usable, it must be converted into acetyl-CoA. For that, pyruvate enters the mitochondrial matrix where it loses a CO2 molecule, gets oxidized and gains a coenzyme A, and during this process, 2 NADHs get reduced, forming 2 NAD. But wait, there's more. Now comes the exciting citric acid cycle. During this cycle, the acetyl-CoA fragment created attaches to an oxaloacetate to make a citrate. As it travels through the cycle, it loses 2 CO2 molecules and transfers its electrons to NAD and FAD, making overall 6 NADHs, 2 FADH2, and 2 ATP in the process. Our total so far, 10 ADH, 2 FADH2, and 4 ATP.
Okay, but again, Steph Curry can't possibly ball unless he has more than 4 of those golden APP. Where are the rest?
Indeed, he won't be able to ball if he doesn't have the rest, which conveniently comes at the electron transport chain. See, most of the previous stages were results of substrate level phosphorylation, which didn't require oxygen, but at the same time made little ATP. Here comes the holy grail for ATP generation. Oxidative phosphorylation, which as the name implies, need the elixir oxygen from the air. In the inner mitochondrial membrane, the carriers in NADH and FADH2 transfer its electrons to the ETC, regenerating NAD+ and FAD. From here, electrons move down a sort of staircase of protein and electron carriers and redox reactions, which give energy to power proton pumps. In chemiosmosis, protons are pumped through the space through an enzyme called ATP synthase. The energy released from the proton crossing binds ATP to a lone phosphate group, making ATP. In the end, oxygen combines with electrons as the final acceptor and protons to make water. In the end, around 34 ATPs are created along with the water.
Okay, a lot of info, but it makes somewhat sense. Now, what will happen if Steve Kerr or Luke Walton overwork the players and they can't supply stable oxygen to make ATP?
Well, in that case, there's no final electron acceptor for NADH, so it stops at glycolysis. In this phase, NAD can be regenerated by transferring electrons directly to pyruvate, creating a byproduct of lactic acid while simultaneously getting around the same amount of ATP.
Thanks, subconscious me. Now, if I were to eat a lot of this holy bread, can I compete with Curry in the NBA?
Well, I mean, I think it's more than just ATP. There's also the fact that
no. I'm gonna prove you wrong, you know. I got this, alright? I just got a ball. You know, I'm gonna show you and show the NBA what I'm capable of.
Curry looking for that opening. Steps back. Crossover, fires away. Wow! Another three!
Oh, I'm on the NBA for good reason. Didn't get that golden APP.
Just stick to computers.